Okay, everybody, so tonight what I'm going to do for this video is I'm going to talk about both Invest 90L, which is what you're seeing on the screen right here, as well as 91L in one video right here, because right now there's not very much information to really go off of to really go for each of them to have its own separate video. And not only that, there are some similarities in the NHC chances that we need to keep in mind, so that's why this is all going to be in one video. So here we go. First one we're going to do for tonight is okay. This is the first one we're going to talk about. This is Invest 90L. This is as of 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. A tropical wave located just offshore of the west coast of Africa continues to produce a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Upper level winds are conducive for gradual development, and a tropical depression is likely to form in a couple of days, while the disturbance moves westward to west-northwestern at 10 to 15 miles per hour over the far eastern tropical Atlantic. Chances formation in the next 48 hours for this is 70%. Now the formation chance in the next 5 days is 90%, so that's a very high chance of it developing in the next couple of days. So last time it was at 50 and 80. Now it's at 70 and 90. So I just want you all to keep that in mind while we're looking at that. So there we have it right there. We have basically just the track of it right here. And this is the satellite imagery. I apologize that this is so not very the highest quality, but this is the furthest away from the United States. So yeah, this is the best quality we can get at this point. But anyway, with that aside, we're first going to do the tracks, then we're going to do the intensity. The tracks of it are somewhat generally in a bit of an agreement for the next 48 hours. It has it moving more towards the west, then somewhat towards the west-northwest after that. So this is a situation I'll be keeping a very close eye on. It's a wait and see at this point. Again, this isn't even a tropical depression. The NHC hasn't put cones out on this, so just keep that in mind. I'll be keeping a close eye on it. It does look like it's not going to really move very much during the next 24 to 48 hours, so it's definitely in that area it can develop. So yeah, now to the intensity. This is some of the stuff we have right here. The majority of the models have it going up to strong tropical storm force in 48 hours. The rest, there are a couple of them that even go up to hurricane force strength, which is too early to say at this point because the NHC hasn't put out their own cones and their own data yet for me to cross-check it and make my own prediction on that. So at this point, it's really too early to say if it's going to do anything or not. So yeah, that's basically the data I've been given, and this is what I'm presenting to you. So this is 90L, one last look at the satellite. Now we're going to go to Invest 91L, which is further west, and thankfully the quality of this is a lot better, and I'm glad Tropical Tidbits allowed for this quality to be a lot better. So yeah, this is 91L. As you can see, the storms are nowhere near the center of circulation. This is pretty poorly organized for the time being, but it doesn't mean it's going to stay like that forever, and I'll explain why. So we're going to go to this one right here. So yeah, this is as of 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Again, 70 and 90% also with this one. So this is basically the reason why I'm making this into one big long video instead of two separate videos, because both of them still have the same chance of development. And not only that, these systems are a lot alike at this point, but they won't be a lot alike down the road. So so this is for the future. This is basically this is basically going to be the only video where I put the two of these Invest together. So yeah, this is 91L right here. A broad area of low pressure located several hundred miles southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands is producing a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Environmental conditions are conducive for further development, with a tropical depression likely to form in the next day or two, while the system moves westward to west-northwestward at 5 to 10 miles per hour over the central tropical Atlantic. So this is slower than 90L. That's a fact. About 5 to 10 miles per hour. That's basically about running speed for for us. So yeah, it's not moving very fast. Chance of formation, again, 70% in the next 48 hours, 90% in the next 5 days. So no really change whatsoever. But nevertheless, this is still in a very conducive environment. Now, I don't have the tracks of this right here, but I can tell you that it is going to move west for the next 5 days, according to what according to what the area of interest is. Basically, the area of development is. It's going to be moving westwardly. So that's all I can really say. I don't have any other tracks to cross-check that. I know the GFS model had this potentially hitting the parts of the Leeward Islands, but at that point, it's just too early to say if it's going to or not. But at the present time, I'm just gonna stick with what I have right now. So we're gonna go to the intensity right here. So this is a bit more interesting. We don't have as much data as we normally would. So these models have it strengthening to a depression, potentially a tropical storm in the next 12 hours. By the next 24 hours, the models have this going up to a tropical storm, and then basically by 48 hours, one of the models have it going up to a strong Cat 1. Then by 60 hours, it's all at hurricane strength, with one model even going up to Category 2 strength. So that's pretty interesting to look at. Like you see right here, there's not much data for me to go off of, so there's not much I can really reference at this point. Not only that, once again, just like 90L, this is just an invest. The NHC has not put cones on it yet, so we can't really cross-check this. So that's 91L. Pretty disorganized at the current time. It's not going to stay like this forever. It's just taking its time developing. And I'll be keeping a close eye on it. So we're going to finally do the key takeaways of 90L. We're going to go back to it. First key takeaway, 70% chance of development in the next 48 hours. 90% chance in the next 5 days. Nothing. Both of these have that. To spare you guys some time, I'm just gonna say for this key takeaway, both of these invests, have 70 and 90% chances of development in the next 48 hours and 5 days respectively. So to save time for you guys, I'm just gonna lump those together, and we're gonna go through the takeaways separately after this. So this is the second key takeaway of 90L. It's still, the models are in general agreement. It's going to move at a snail's pace for the next 24 hours, maybe 36 hours. Then start speeding up after 48 hours, moving towards the west-northwest, according to these models. But after 4 days, it's just too early to tell what this thing's going to do. So that's all I'm going to really say. Next key takeaway is that the majority of these models have this going up to a tropical storm at some point, with a couple going up to hurricane strength. But at this point, it's not even an invest. Sorry, it is an invest. It's not even a depression. So the NHC doesn't have cones on this, so I can't really cross-check this with anything else. Final key takeaway: there is this convective burst of the like the convection right here. But this, again, is pretty low quality, so I apologize for that. The center of circulation appears to be about here, so there's that for you. And now to 91L. We already talked about the first key takeaway. I'm not going to waste any more time doing that. Second key takeaway is that this is expected to become a tropical storm, potentially a hurricane, potentially a Category 2 hurricane, and everything. But at this point, it's just too early to say anything. That we don't have much data to go off of, and unfortunately this is not a tropical depression, because the NHC is not putting cones on this yet. So that's an issue. That's not necessarily an issue, but it does limit what I can really report at this point, and I'm sorry for that. I wish the NHC would start putting cones on invests now. That would be something nice to do. Final key takeaway of 91L is that there is the center of circulation right here. It's still disorganized, but it's not going to be disorganized forever, just like 90L. This thing is going to develop. That's why there is such a high chance of development in the next few days. So yeah, that's the latest I have on both Invests 90 and 91L. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more updates.